dignitaries from the foreign embassies, members of the Tumbe Group, academic leadership of the university, my dear colleagues and dear students. My name is Ravi Tipparaju from the Health Communications Division, and I'll be taking you through this very special moment. Your Excellency, Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, sir, your presence amongst us today has started a new phase in the history of this young institution. It gives us a renewed energy to progress, a great inspiration to achieve our dreams, and gives us a new dimension to our thinking. President, sir, His Excellency Dr. Kalam has written in his book, The Wings of Fire, and I quote, "A dream is not what you see in sleep. It is the thing which does not let you sleep." And Your Excellency, I must say that our President, Mr. Tumbe Muhyiddin, believes in your lines, that what you have penned in your Song of Youth, in your another book, Ignited Minds. Sir, I quote again, "As a young citizen of India, armed with technology and love for my nation, I realize a small aim is a crime." Your Excellency, these words are true to the nature of our President, Mr. Muhyiddin. He is a dreamer and a visionary, and this institution is the result of such inspiration that he carries in him. Ladies and gentlemen, to begin with the proceedings of this very special event, may I request Mr. Sadatullah to come and recite from Holy Quran.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كافها يا عين صاد ذكر رحمة ربك عبده زكريا إذ نادى ربه نداء خفيا قال رب إني وهن العظم مني واشتعل الرأس شيبا ولم أكن بدعائك رب شقيا صدق الله العليم. السلام عليكم.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I now take the privilege of inviting our Provost, Professor Geeta Ashok Raj, to stage to propose her welcome address. Professor Geeta Ashok Raj.
Our guest of honor, His Excellency Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, other dignitaries, special invitees, students, faculty, staff. On behalf of the President, Mr. Tumbe Muhyiddin, the faculty, student and staff of the Gulf Medical University, it gives me great pleasure to welcome you all to this most honorable occasion. Under the patronage of His Highness Sheikh Hamid bin Rashid Al Nuaimi, this institute has grown from a single college offering the MBBS program to a medical university with 6 colleges and a research division for students from over 50 nations. With the addition of the Center for Continuing Education and Community Outreach, we have extended our resources to the non-traditional student from this year. Today, we are a community of learners made up of 505 full-time students who are looking forward to a productive and useful life, serving the community as physicians, dentists, pharmacists, and physical therapists. They are taught by 208 faculty members distributed at 5 geographical sites at GMU, GMCHRC Hospital, and Sheikh Khalifa Hospital in Ajman, the Quwain Hospital in Quwain, and Mafraq Hospital in Abu Dhabi. 80 full-time, 10 part-time, and 118 adjunct faculty in the Ministry of Health hospitals teach them. As part of its commitment to the community, the university has extended the portals of learning to the non-traditional learners in different areas of the health sector to train as medical assistants, medical secretaries, health information managers, medical billers and coders, medical laboratory, dental, pharmacy, physical therapy, technicians and assistants, among others. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have gathered to welcome an outstanding teacher, a scientist par excellence, an academician with a stellar track record who rose to join the planners of the country of his birth and helped to create the roadmap for transforming India, the country of his birth, from the global status of a developing to a developed nation. His Excellency is today a household name, an oft-quoted example of an individual who rose from humble beginnings to pursue his dreams, achieved many honors, both academic and civilian, to become the President of India, the highest civilian position in the country. In spite of these honors, he continues to amaze us by the simplicity of his lifestyle, his humility, and his strong belief that the future of all nations lies in the hands of their young learning community, awaiting to be molded by the enthusiasm and inspiration in the hands of their teachers and parents, to be further set in the fires lit in the brick kilns of schools and universities, to further be honed in their journey as future leaders of the country, who will soar with wings of fire and unleash the power within India to achieve India 2020, a vision for the new millennium, leading the country to further glory with their ignited minds. Your Excellency, Sir, many of us will have the privilege of seeing and hearing you for the first time. Today, we as members of this young varsity are awaiting to be inspired by your words as we work hard to achieve our dreams as you have. Be able to emulate your sheer determination and your confidence in yourself as you carved for yourself your path to success. Ladies and gentlemen, hang on to his words and let them flow through your ears and play on your minds so that they leave behind a lasting impression that will inspire you to achieve greater heights in your chosen path. Remind you to be humble in your moments of glory and lift your spirits when you face difficulties to carry on in your work against all adverse circumstances and still reach your goal. With these few words, I leave you all to witness an event that you will cherish and recall from down memory's lane to recount throughout your life.
Students மேல இருக்காங்க டாக்டர்ஸ் எல்லாம் கீழே.
Friends, I have designed my lecture to suit the students. I want to know where are the students. Lift your hand. Lift your. Acha, these students. Okay. Upstairs students. All of you students there. Oh, there also you are there. Okay. First, I would like to greet His Excellency Sheikh Dr. Majid Al-Niami and Mr. Tumbe Moideen, President GMU, and Professor Geeta Ashok Raj, and all the members of the faculty and students and GMU family and all the friends who have come to this talk. Friends, I was in the Gulf Medical University the last 1 hour. I visited a number of the faculties and saw the clinical work. Also, I saw the research work, and I happened to see some students. So I'm very happy to be in the campus of Gulf Medical University in Ajman. I'm indeed delighted to address, and I hope you have time to interact with the students and faculty of Gulf Medical University here in Ajman. The city of Ajman represents the union of history and modern technology and the fusion of rapid progress with preservation of traditional values. I was reading about the Gulf Medical University, and I'm very happy to know that this is the only institution with its own teaching hospital in this part of the country, and that this hospital group is the largest healthcare provider in the UAE. I'm happy to inaugurate the GMU Information and Learning Center today. I visited the Learning Center, which is state-of-art and highly interactive, and an example of how information technology and medical sciences can convert to help community. My greetings to all the students, teachers, doctors, professionals, and guests present here. Friends, I would like to share my views for next 15 minutes on the topic, let my brain remove the pain. The topic I'm going to talk to you, let my brain remove the pain, because that's your profession. Friends, whether you look at the future of a developed country or a developing country or a rich man or a poor woman, there is one challenge common. The challenge is how to keep the mind and body healthy. How to keep mind and body healthy. The world has witnessed phenomenal progress in medical sciences and treatment. However, as it is said in Tamil area, there are many areas to be explored. There are many mysteries in medical field you experts may call isopathic. Can the research done in islands of excellence across the world be connected? Can the experience of doctors be transmitted in much larger scale than now for the benefit of entire humankind? With your close connectivity with India, and in particular with Kerala, there are alternative systems of medicine like Ayurveda which need much more research stress. The cost of medicine has to come down. Emergency medical care studies have to be exchanged for saving lives on time without permanent damage. How do we spread the preventive health messages? Finally, what would promote a healthy world will be a pollution-free environment, a stress-reduced world, and a healthy living. As a medical university, you would be working on these areas. Fundamental to all this is a compassion. Dear friends, when I see you all, first of all, I would like to share one experience with you. When I was teaching in Gatton College of Business and Economics, Lexington in USA, in the last April, one of my students, I had 85 students, one of my students asked me, Kalam, you have done many tasks. Tell us one task that gave you the bliss. She didn't ask me happiness. That one task that gave you the bliss, the student asked me how to answer. It is important for me to answer. Let me share with you, all of you. When the answer what I gave to the student, it is like this. When we launched the first indigenous satellite launch vehicle, Assembly 3, it gave me a lot of happiness. When we launched Agni, it gave me a different kind of happiness. When I and my team had successfully tested a nuclear weapon at the 52 degrees centigrade in Pokhran Desert in Western India, it gave me great joy. When a team prepared the Vision 2020 document for transforming India, a nation, into a developed nation, it gave me a good sense of happiness. But still, the student was not satisfied. What gave me a bliss, that is the memorable event which I would like to share with you. During my visit to one of the hospitals in Hyderabad, I found, it's a Nizam Medical Institute in Hyderabad, where I found many children were struggling to walk with an artificial limb weighing about 4 kilogram. At the request of my friend Professor Prasad, Nizam Institute of Medical Science, head of orthopedic department at that time, I asked Agni missile friends why we cannot use the composite material used for Agni heat shield for fabricating FROs, that is prosthetic for polio affected patients. The students, my team, they immediately said it possible. We worked on this project for some time and came up with the FRO for the child weighing around 400 grams in place of 4 kilograms, exactly 1/10 of the weight which the children were carrying. The doctors helped us to fit the new lightweight FRO, floor rear reaction orthosis, on the children, and started walking and running around. Their parents were watching this. Their parents, when they watched, tears rolled down all their faces through the joy of seeing their children running with the lightweight calipers. With the lightweight calipers device provided by the hospital that could run, ride a bicycle, do all sorts of things which they had been denied for a long time. The removal of the pain and the freedom attained by the children gave me a state of bliss which I never experienced during any of other achievement in my career. Dear friends, what will inspire you, since you are all graduating students, particularly when you are entering into your career, you would like to hear certain inspiring lives in your healthcare domain. Let me first discuss some individual whom I know. They are healthcare professionals who, through their light of knowledge, have been engaged in transformation of a societal mission to remove the pain and suffering of humanity. I am sure that the unique life and work of the healthcare giver will be a beacon of inspiration for the young graduates. Friends, now let me recall particularly, for the benefit of young future doctors, about the lifestyle of and contribution of a great doctors, namely, one first doctor I'm going to talk to you, Dr. Venkataswamy of Aravind Eye Care Center, Madurai. He is a close friend of mine. I have known late Dr. Venkataswamy for over 3 decades. He is known for his silent contribution and bringing light to thousands of people. All his life he has worked for total elimination of avoidable blindness. He has brought with the Aravind Eye Hospital the best of technology and management. He has established a network of Aravind hospitals and also the mobile clinics. He has created many leaders in the field who are spread in various parts of the world. Dr. Venkataswamy championed the community ophthalmology service in Tamil Nadu and surrounding regions. This was at a time when there was a tremendous amount of cataract backlog and there were not enough specialists. The mass movement of treatment of cataract shifted from improvised operating room to hospital operating room facilities. Aravind has successfully integrated their core competence of the community ophthalmology with modern medical treatment and research. Dr. Venkataswamy implemented his principle that the Aravind Eye Hospital must provide services to reach rich and poor alike. Yet the eye care facility must be financially self-supporting. The entire Aravind Eye Care system is conducting an average 800 eye surgeries per day and annually treat over 2.5 million patients. They are providing for every 30 paid patients free treatment for 70 patients who cannot afford. This 30-70% is a world phenomena, and everyone uniquely appreciating throughout the world this 70-30 phenomena. That is 70% free, 30% you have to pay. Aravind has grown into a 5 hospital with nearly 3,600 beds and 26 vision centers spread in different parts of Tamil Nadu, southern part of India. The important aspect of Aravind system is that the productivity per ophthalmic specialist is 5 times that of a national productivity. Aravind has contributed in a big way to reduce the avoidable blindness in the country. Today, in the map, the world recognizes we have reduced avoidable blindness. The world has recognized Aravind's contribution. Recently, I was happy to see many researchers with different parts of the world as partners while inaugurating Venkataswamy Research Center at Madurai. The life of Dr. Venkataswamy gives the message to all of us, and particularly the aspiring medical graduates, how commitment to a vision can make a mission happen. This is a message to all the young doctors. Let me give some of the innovation in healthcare research leading to solution for the diseases which were almost incurable so far. In April 2010, while in Louisville in USA, I met researchers from Brown Cancer Research Center who are developing a vaccine for cervical cancer, big problem in India, for cervical cancer which affects many women across the world. A World Health Organization study reveals that every year 132,000 women are diagnosed with this particular kind of cancer, and nearly 75,000 die from the diseases in India alone. The proposed vaccine in the Brown Research Institute would be developed on a protein drawn out of tobacco leaves, and will cost only $2 for every individual. I am sure the healthcare community assembled here would like to take up the development such areas of societal importance jointly with the Brown Research Institute, Cancer Research Institute. Since all of you are going to engage in your mission to be the future leaders of healthcare, let me now discuss with you a unique hospital which I saw in Lexington, USA as a part of the university. Friends, in the last year I was in USA for some teaching assignment at various universities and other programs. On 15th April 2010, I visited the University of Kentucky Healthcare Center, which is a $1 billion hospital with the best of healthcare of all kinds for the people of the state of Kentucky. Dr. Michael Korf, you'll be in touch with Michael Korf, you must be in touch, he's a nice man. Not only is a doctor, he's a spiritual human being, so you can invite him, discuss with him your future plans. Dr. Michael Korf, the chief designer of the whole hospital, showed me around under construction a building. Dr. Korf introduced the hospital to me as a visionary health center in the 21st century. I observed how the grand hospital was more than a symbol of the best medical technology. It carried a message of compassion for the patients of all ages and conveyed hope to the ailing heart and brought smile to the sad faces. The hospital, of course, had the best medical equipment, but it was also aesthetically designed with large windows, beautiful atrium decorated with the beautiful paintings and games for children. The patient, when he or she entered the hospital, gets a message of confidence, I will be healed. At the same time, while the hospital was state of art, it still provided for further space for later technology advancement for having high ceiling and wide doors. Why I am saying this is because some of the innovative doctors will come out of this gathering and will be pioneering a unique healthcare centers which will bring together medicine and compassion. My visualization of a great healthcare center, I have seen number of healthcare centers in India, and today I saw here and also abroad. Dear friends, I visualize a great healthcare center with the following characteristics. Some of them you may have. Patient is the most important person in the hospital. When the patient enters the hospital presence, and angelic look, all the team members of the hospital always wear smiles. Not only the white coats, they also wear the smiles. The patient feels that I am going to get cured. The second one, the hospital consumes less electricity, less water by adapting a green building for all modernization tasks. The choice of the power source is solar and wind. The hospital premises are totally noise-free. All the test reports and treatment schedule get attached to the database of the patient through electronic medical record without the need of the patient or the relatives to search for the reports. The database is updated and authenticated every hour. Maintains the database of all the cases treated by the hospital in the past which are easily retrievable. Patient is not subjected to diagnostic pain. You know, this term I have introduced, diagnostic pain. You know, patient comes for diagnosis. Then he meets the doctor and he says he has stomach pain. Doctor prescribes. He says you go through to 100% check and scanning and blood test, urinal test, all tests. Many tests he prescribes, so you get a diagnostic pain. So I am suggesting that all the doctors upstairs and downstairs, they will not introduce that. You are going to take an oath on that. Now the surroundings of the hospital is green with full of trees with seasonal flowers. The further expansion of the hospital is in vertical mode, leading to fast movement of the patient and doctors for medical treatment. There is no case of hospital-induced infection to the patient due to the biocontamination. I hope the hospital has taken care of this. The patient feels this is the best place to get treated. Hospital fully IT enabled, leading to virtual connectivity of the patient to the doctor, nurse and the chief of the hospital 24/7. Hospital is also networked with the other hospitals nationally and internationally for seeking expert medical advice on unique cases. The daily medical conference attended by the chief of the hospital, doctors, nurses, paramedics and relatives of the patient unique cases reviews the problems of the patient and find integrated solution. Patient also sometimes unique case patient you have to call them or their relatives. So I am sure the Gulf Medical University possesses all these characteristics what I have put, and you would have developed some unique thing that also can be added there. Now finally, I would like to say the 6 virtues of healthcare giver. 6 virtues of healthcare giver. When I am with the healthcare community, I would like to share an experience with chief monk of Kathmandu. His name is Rinpoche, and a medical researcher. He is a medical researcher. After a nearly kilometer walk, I reached the White Kumbha, where the chief monk and his disciples were waiting to receive me. It happened a few months back. After reception, the chief monk said, "Let us go to our study room," and I followed him. He climbed the first floor, second floor, third floor, fourth floor, and fifth floor, just like a young boy. Probably the lifestyle has a positive impact on the mind and body. All along I was following and following. When I reached his chamber, I saw a laboratory, medical laboratory, and a spiritual environment overlooking the Himalayas. What surprised me was his research students come from different part of the country. Particularly, he introduced me to his co-author, David R. Klim, MD, who is working on a research area, medicine and compassion, the research area, medicine and compassion. The chief monk, Rinpoche, has written with Dr. David R. Schlim, a book titled Medicine and Compassion. It's a beautiful book. I like this book and read it during my journey from Kathmandu to Delhi. This book gives 6 important virtues which a medical practitioner has to possess toward their patients. First virtue is generosity. The second virtue is a pure ethics. The third is tolerance, because he has to tolerate the pain, but still he will treat. Fourth is perseverance. He or she doesn't give up. Fifth is cultivating pure concentration. And sixth virtue is to be intelligent, continuously upgrading his medical knowledge. These virtues will empower the caregivers with a human heart. I am sure all the young students graduating today from Gulf Medical University will inculcate these values. Friends, I have, so far, it's for young people, okay? Exclusive for young people. I have met so far 11 million youth in a decade's time in India and abroad. Mostly Indians, about 11 million youth. What is the message, what I learned? Every youth wants to be unique. Every youth wants to be unique. That is you. But the world around you is doing its best day and night to make you just everybody else. Do you follow? You want to be you, but from the home, you start from the home, come to college and go anywhere. Instead of you becoming you, the world is trying to make you everybody else. So the challenge, my young friends, is that you have to fight the hardest battle which any human being can ever imagine to fight, and never stop fighting until you arrive at your destined place, that is unique you. Now what are the tools? To be a unique you, what are the tools? There are 4 tools. First and foremost, you may be a medical student, but it's medical, so many areas are there, research and clinic area. And so, first have an aim in life, big aim. How you see the bulb? As soon as you see the bulb, you remember a man, isn't it? Thomas Alva Edison, you remember. And similarly, if you are having heart problems, angiography, angioplasty, you remember a great doctor, the first doctor who did angiography. And when the sea is blue, when the sky is blue, then why sky is blue, scattering of light, immediately you remember Sir C.V. Raman. So the question is, first and foremost, you must have an aim in life. Great aim in life. Small aim is a crime. Second one, we have to continuously acquire the knowledge. Continuously acquire the knowledge. Knowledge can be through great books, great teachers, great human beings, or even good internet. And knowledge acquisition. Third one, you have to do the hard work. Sweat, sweat, sweat. Medical community, particularly students, you working very hard. Not only 4 years you do, 5 years you do, plus 1 year internship, then you do MD, so you do a lot of work. But then, that is, you are doing the hard work. Then last one, perseverance. Perseverance means, any work you do, medical area, some problem will come. But the problem should not become your captain. You should become the captain of the problem, defeat the problem and succeed. So that is becoming a unique you. These 4 areas, aim in life, acquiring the knowledge, hard work and perseverance. So friends, history, you note this, history echoes to us. that those who have courage to imagine it impossible are the few unique personalities who broke all human limitation of thought and action. In every field of human efforts, whether science, technology, medicine, environment, arts, sports, industry, even in politics, the names of the people who imagine the impossible are engraved timelessly in our human history. For example, the founder of UAE, His Excellency Sheikh Said. Can you remember? Can you remember? 35 years back, what it was, this desert, what it was, what is today. So it's a one man's vision, how the whole place has transformed. So the question is, that is, he was you, he was himself. That's a good example of Mahatma Gandhi. He was himself. He can work for two nations, for apartheid system South Africa and India's freedom, he can work. So the question is, think big. Okay, think big. Definitely will go close to that. By breaking the limits of their imagination, they transform the world. Will you do it? That's a question. So friends, my best wishes to all of you for giving the best of healthcare and in research, in clinical area, to everyone through knowledge, hard work and integrity. Integrity. Will you take a oath if you don't mind? Will you take all of you? Yes, ready? Or you are hungry? I love my medical profession as a noble mission. I will follow the motto, let my care, you are not eaten 3 days. I will follow the motto, let my care remove the pain and bring smiles. I will always radiate, cheer, to give confidence to patients and their families. I will be a lifelong learner. I will practice what I learn and I will train my team to be competent. I will not introduce any diagnostic pain. I will work with integrity and succeed with integrity. Thank you. Thank you. Now, thank you. Now, friends, I can take 5 questions, okay? Huh? Okay. Okay, 5. They are approving. We got time problem. Okay. 5 questions from students particularly. I would like to take questions first, students.
Dr. Kerala, it has been a great honor for you to be here and...
Lady, what is the question?
So my question is, though we have been coming up from a world-class university which has an excellent faculty, teaching faculty, we've been not exempted from the screening examination which has to be given in Delhi, Medical Council of India. So I would like to know why would we have to...
I personally believe it is generally outside Delhi, outside India, they conduct a test for acceptance test. But I believe the more you are known for your research, the more you are known for clinical work, the more you are known for compassion, definitely one day you will be recognized.
I'm Sakya from 4th year. My question would be about your book India 2020. It was released in 2003 and had advocated that India should be a nuclear superpower by the year 2020. So do you still see that happening?
Well, it is not a nuclear superpower or any superpower. What India 2020 vision calls for is transforming India by the year 2020, that is another 9 years' time, the economically developed nation, removing the poverty of 300 million people, okay? That's the mission. Whether it will become a superpower, whether it will become G9, G10, that's a different issue. More, the priority is how to transform. Definitely India is doing now, GDP growth is 9%. And if we maintain GDP growth 10% for next 9 years, definitely India will become economically developed nation. Now upstairs turn. Now because upstairs have to ask questions.
Sir, you said, sir, when we set out with
Which year you are studying?
fourth year, sir.
Fourth year?
Yes, sir.
So next year, final year?
Yes, sir.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay, tell me. What is the question?
Sir, sir, like you said, when we set out from home, we are trying to be us, but everyone is trying to make us everybody else.
Yeah.
What is the way to resist? How to remain ourselves?
Buddy, just now I told you, I agree with you that the whole setup is making us everybody else.
Yes, sir.
But there are people in India and abroad, just now I told you, the founder of UAE, he was a unique person. How? How he became a unique person? How Mahatma Gandhi became a unique person? How just now I talked to you, Dr. Venkateswamy, eye doctor, became a unique person?
Yes, sir.
Because they had the life, the setup, what is needed in human life, and then they acquired the knowledge continuously. They are not retired in getting the knowledge. Continuously, even at the 70, 80, they are acquiring the knowledge. And the third one, sweat. In UAE, you can easily sweat hard work. Sweat. And
Thank you, sir.
fourth one, perseverance. Okay?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Palak. I'm a third year MBBS student, and I'm from India. My question was, what is your opinion of the healthcare system in India, and what reforms do you think can be made to improve it?
See, I personally believe in India healthcare system, we have thousands of primary health centers. Okay, primary. That means we have 600,000 villages. There are 200,000 panchayat. Approximately each panchayat has got a primary health centers. These primary health centers not working. Okay, we have to activate all the. Some states it working, some states not working. So our mission is to see that all the primary health centers are activated, number one. Number two, the malaria is a very important disease. We must get rid of it. So our scientists are working very hard in India and abroad to find a vaccine for anti-malaria. That's one of the very important area, anti-malaria. Third one, Indians by birth genetically, you doctors should find out why we are susceptible to cardiac problems. So this research also going on, and a number of good doctors have come in the cardiology in India. So my feeling is the priority will be waterborne diseases by 2020, and then waterborne malaria also included, then the TB and HIV combination. Another threat is going to come. We should be ready to face it. And third one, the cardiac diseases, we have to find correct answer. That is for why we are susceptible to that. Fourth one is cancer. There also the vaccine is HIV vaccine. Cancer also you have to find unique medicines. Okay. Over. Yes. Upstairs guy. Yeah.
I was asked you what was your aim in life, from transforming yourself from a youth to a young person. You said for youth we should be. What was your aim?
What was my aim in life when I started my career?
Yeah.
You see, when I was a 10-year fellow, long ago when you were not in the idea form, so what happened 1941, it's a wartime in Rameswaram Island I belonged to. There I had a teacher, 5th class, his name is Siva Subramania Iyer. That teacher went to a blackboard, he's a science teacher, went on teaching how birds fly, okay, how birds fly. He put a wings, he put a tail, he put a nose, and then he took us to the seashore, showed how the birds fly, how he used the wings, how it changed the direction. On the day of his teaching, not only I learned how birds fly, He gave me aim in life. That is something to do with flight. I didn't know flight science existing at that time. Something to do with flight. So I took physics on his advice of my teacher. Then I took aeronautical engineering. I became a rocket engineer. Then I became a space technologist. Then I started flying. Yeah. Last question. No, what you friends you do, I have to go somewhere. But my mail is this lecture, what I given you, it will be website in half an hour. www.abdulkalam.com, okay? www.abdulkalam.com. That's my website. Then you send a mail to me. Any question you have on my lecture or you want to ask me, my mail address is apj@abdulkalam.com. If you send it, 48 hours you will get a reply. Last question.
My name is Nago, first year, and my question is...
Long way to go, another 4 years, eh?
So, like, just recently you talked about your aim, how you got it. Now, I want to know, like, as a progressing nuclear scientist, and you must have reached a lot of challenges and times of hardships. So, I want to know, like, what was your greatest motivation at that time? Like, was it a person or was it...
Well, I had my chairman, Indian Space Research Organization. I worked with him as a project director for satellite launch vehicle. So I was hesitating to take the project, because it's a big project for the nation and success failure possible. So I was hesitating. Then he gave me an advice. The advice was, if you do small problems, small projects, small problems will come. If you do big challenges, big problems will come. Problem should not become your captain. You should become the captain of the problem, defeat the problem and succeed. Okay. Good advice. So I have some books, either for you, Dean. You can come this side, madam. This is for your library. For your library.
Check. Sir, Your Excellency, while you may be seated on the stage, we have another distinguished personality amongst us this afternoon. He is none other than our President's father, Mr. Ahmad Haji Mohiuddin, Chairman of BA Group India. On this occasion, Your Excellency, it's been decided to bestow upon him Lifetime Achievement Award through the hands of you, sir, and it would be one of the greatest honors to witness this rare occasion. So we also have another luminary amongst us. He's a leading industrialist from Calicut in Kerala, and he is a very well-known philanthropist. So we want to present it to Mr. P.K. Ahmad for his invaluable contributions to the society and philanthropic services over the years. Thank you, Your Excellency. Your presence, sir, your presence will be etched in our memories forever. But for the sake of our records and personal albums, may we request you to kindly let us have a few photographs with you, sir. I would request our provost and the entire academic leadership of this university to please come on stage and have a photograph with His Excellency. And may I also request His Excellency Dr. Sheikh Majid bin Saeed Al Nuaimi to please join. Thank you very much. And the next team would be from the members of the Tumbe Group, UAE. Your Excellency, 2 more photographs and we'll be through with it, sir. May I request all the executives of the Tumbe Group to please come on stage. Now a few students, that will be one of the greatest moments for them, sir. May I request the students to come in 2 batches, please. I must confess, because of the large group of students, Your Excellency, there's 1 more batch to join you, please. Just 2 more minutes. Yeah, 1 more group of students.